Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. The world's first ever XRP sidechain just went live on October 31st. Just happened. Which is a date of particular significance to anybody in the world of crypto. There's great symbolism that for those of us that are in the world of crypto, because October 31st is the it's the date of the Satoshi Nakamoto Bitcoin white paper. You might have heard of that little thing, right? And that was actually published 15 years ago. Man, time flies when you're having fun. And then a couple months after that, of course, the Bitcoin blockchain finally went live, January 2009. And so anyway, I think that the symbolism for this is pretty cool. But I want to share with you that this world's first ever XRP sidechain, which just went live, it will absolutely pump your XRP bags if, here's my little asterisk here, if it is broadly successful. And I'll explain why I'm saying, and by the way, this isn't some sort of supposition. I'll explain what I mean by this. I'm telling you, what I'm literally telling you, is that the way that the Zaha network, which is that's the sidechain in question here, XAHAU, the world's first ever XRP ledger sidechain, the way that it's programmed on layer 1 is such that by necessity, it will impact positively the price of XRP as long as there's actual adoption. So you should want this sidechain to be broadly adopted. And so you could also ask this, and I just want to put my position out there right at the get-go, and then we'll kind of break this down as we go further through the video. You might have a question, okay, well, what if this thing fails? Does it harm XRP or the XRP ledger? And the answer is no. And the reason for that, in a nutshell, is because you got to understand that the developer activity, because there's all sorts of people debating this right now, is this sidechain, is it actually just going to pull, it's just going to extract value in some sort of negative way from the XRP ledger, and then the developers, they're all just going over to this Zaha network, and it's going to, and that's where all the real action is going to occur? No. And the reason that I say that is because you got to understand that the Zaha network was created because it has layer 1 smart contract functionality, which the XRP ledger does not have. That's why. And so anything that's being done on the Zaha network, it's because it cannot be done on the XRP ledger. And so, I mean, if you think that, existing projects are just going to uproot and go to a brand new chain with no liquidity, no actual track record, I dispute that. I think that makes no functional sense. But, but some people are saying such things. But I am telling you that if this is successful and it's doing a bunch of other stuff that the XRP ledger can't, which is what the goal is here, I'm telling you mechanically the way it is designed is going to pump the price of XRP, and to what degree, that depends on the scale of the success. And I will explain exactly why I'm saying this. But again, that's not some sort of speculation. I'm telling you, it is literally designed to do that. But before going any further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so the debate on this topic has been raging on for the last few days. I haven't talked about it yet. You may have noticed that I actually went 2-3 days without publishing anything on YouTube, and I mostly wasn't on the internet at all, just for personal reasons, other obligations and stuff. And so I saw sometimes when I'd check, what's going on social media platform X, and I'd hop on my phone for a second just to see what's going on, I could see that there were intense debates going. I was like, I'll deal with that one later. But here I am, and I am dealing with that one later because I want to talk about this, and I don't share the fears that many have. And so here's the Zaha network, XAHAU. This is their account on X. And here you can see that on Halloween, they posted the following: "Hello world," and this is the announcement that they're here. Here you can see there's a post. This is reposted by Thomas Silkjar. He's the head of analytics and compliance at XRP Ledger Foundation. He also has written a number of articles for Forbes about XRP. He's one of the guys that's been around forever and is a very positive voice for our community. And so he reposted this and said, "The first XRP Ledger protocol sidechain is born. Welcome." And it's pretty cool stuff. And again, to be clear, there was this amendment that was actually created over 2 years ago called the Hooks Amendment, which would allow for smart contract functionality on layer 1 on the XRP ledger. The XRP ledger has no smart contract functionality, right? Not on layer 1. And so there's this amendment called the Hooks Amendment, which has not been passed for over 2 years. And finally, the developers, they got tired of it not getting passed. These are XRP Ledger developers, very pro XRP, very pro XRP Ledger, building some of the coolest stuff out there, including Wietse Wind. And eventually, a bunch of them got together and were like, well, this looks like this thing's not going to get approved on the XRP Ledger itself anytime soon, but we can't build unless this technology is available to us. So then, if you're them, you've got a couple options. You can either just abandon all the entirety of the XRP ecosystem, and you can go to a separate blockchain that already exists that has smart contract functionality and go build there, or you can create your own sidechain which will complement XRP and the XRP ledger, which it certainly will, in particular in terms of price action, and I'll get to the full explanation of why in just a second here. But here you can see there's a project called Evernode within the XRP ecosystem here, and they posted the following upon this sidechain going live. Evernode is proud to be a part of the Zaha launch and bring hyper-flexible, hyper-scalable smart contracts to the XRP Ledger ecosystem. Now that Zaha exists, Evernode can exist. Now, folks, the reason that was written is because what Evernode is doing requires the smart contract functionality that is not possible on the XRP Ledger. So if you're worried about the XRP Ledger losing developer activity, again, it was never going to happen here anyway unless you think that the amendment was going to get passed, which in theory, it still could at some point in the future here. But it's, there's perspective from developers out there that there's certain risks that come with it, although that's true of any amendment from a technical perspective. So anyway, they write here, we are targeting launch for November 27th, subject to code audit. So again, the purpose of this video isn't to get into the specifics of the project or stuff like that, or even to defend Zaha itself, or even to explain why it might make a ton of sense in the world. I'm going to explain to you why, if it works, it's good for XRP and the XRP Ledger. Then we can get into in a separate video if we want to talk about the tokenomics of it, this, or that. And I'm certainly willing to be persuaded. I'm just telling you we should want it to be successful. And so I posted the following: Zaha is good for XRP. And that was me sharing the announcement from Zaha Network, and they wrote, "Hello World." And an XRP community member responded to me after I wrote Zaha is good for XRP. And this guy named Randy wrote, "Not on a one-to-one conversion basis, though." And that caught my attention because I like dissenting viewpoints. I think that lively discussion and debate, so on and so forth, is fun. So I was kind of curious what he was thinking. And so I simply wrote to him, since he said, again, on, I don't know, one-to-one conversion basis, because I wasn't quite sure what that meant. And I'm actually still not quite sure what he meant by that. But I asked, in what way is Zaha bad for XRP? And he wrote to me and he said, it's not bad, but no reason to burn XRP for one-to-one exchange. Would rather buy it off an exchange. Okay, so just to be clear, what he's talking about here is that in order to get Zaha, like say you want to have the Zaha token, you want to speculate on this thing, which, every cryptocurrency under the sun is speculated on. Well, except for stable coins, and you can find some other maybe little exceptions here and there. But broadly speaking, we understand that decentralized cryptocurrencies, there's over 20,000 of them, and people go nuts with it and speculate. So why wouldn't that be the case here? It will be. Of course it will. We all know this, right? But how can you get these tokens? Well, either you can purchase them on an exchange, and to start, there's going to be almost no liquidity. So that's one way that you could do it. Another way is that you can engage in what's called the burn to mint process, which means that you take your XRP and you commit to burning it, and upon burning it on the XRP ledger, so it's literally gone forever. It's done. Nobody could ever have that XRP ever again. That happens, and then on the Zaha network, you have Zaha tokens. And so for every one XRP you burn on the XRP ledger, you get one Zaha token on that separate blockchain. And it is a completely separate blockchain. And it doesn't work the other way, by the way. You can't burn Zaha tokens to get new XRP. It doesn't work like that. It goes one way only. So that means if people are going to purchase XRP specifically so they can have Zaha tokens, that means that somebody bought XRP, which they literally can never sell because it's getting burned. So you're talking about just deflating the supply of XRP. It's already a deflationary cryptocurrency, just by the way it's coded. There's a little bit of XRP burnt with every single transaction anyway, just a tiny, and it's not much, but it's a little bit. And so you're talking about that XRP never being available for anyone ever again, can't even be sold. So somebody's buying it but literally can never sell it. So you can already imagine having that type of deflation for the XRP ledger. That concept alone is positive if you want to sell your XRP for a higher price. Now, of course, it may not be, depending on the scale, it could be meaningful one day if you get wild adoption with Zaha and a bunch of XRP getting burnt so that they can move over there, but it might not. It depends. We'll see what happens. This damn thing just launched literally yesterday, right? So, again, he said here that, he's not going to be burning his XRP here. That's the point he's making. There's no reason to burn your XRP to do it. He said he'd rather buy it off an exchange, but that's not quite true. So here was my response. And I appreciate the back and forthers that we can share ideas like this. I wrote to him and I said, which you can do. And when I wrote that, that's me referencing that he can buy it off an exchange, as long as it's available. And then I said, but if it's, and this is the key part, so please listen right here, and I will break this down in case it's hard to understand the first time that I read through my own comment here. This is it. This is what you need to understand. If you want to know why the Zaha token is ultimately going to pump your XRP bags if Zaha is successful, this is it right here. But I wrote, but if it's ever cheaper to purchase XRP instead and then burn to mint to get Zaha tokens, then people will do that. That's why an equilibrium in price will develop between XRP and Zaha. This means if demand for Zaha increases, demand for XRP will also increase. So, folks, think about the mechanics aren't that hard to understand, to be honest with you. They're fairly simple. They're just not that well known at this point because this is a newer ecosystem, so I want to explain it, even though it's not a particularly complex idea. You will ultimately end up with equilibrium between the price of XRP and the price of Zaha tokens. And I can give you a simple real-world example as to why this would be the case. Imagine a hypothetical here, where one single Zaha token, let's just make up a number, a wild, crazy high number. Let's say that one Zaha token was $25. Whoa, that's pretty damn high. Especially considering XRP is about 60 cents at the time that I'm recording this, right? That would be pretty damn wild, right? And then let's just say, just use easy numbers here. Let's say that XRP is $1. XRP is $1. So if you want to purchase a bunch of Zaha tokens so that you can either speculate or perform developer activity on the Zaha sidechain, if you want to do that, what are you going to do to get those tokens? Are you going to pay $25 per token on the Zaha sidechain? And you could purchase that from an exchange as long as it's available for sale, as long as there's sufficient liquidity, and there would be some amount, right? Are you going to pay $25, or in this hypothetical, since XRP is only $1, are you going to purchase a metric F-word ton of XRP? If you want to get into the Zaha ecosystem, are you going to buy a ton of XRP for $1 because that's 1/25th the cost, and then burn to mint? Meaning you convert that XRP over to the Zaha network. Which one are you going to do? You see where I'm going with this, right? You're going to do the one that's cheaper, the one that is 1/25th the cost. And you know what happens as that occurs? You find this equilibrium price where you're going to have the Zaha token. And these were wild disparities in price just for the purposes of illustration. I admit that, of course, but it's just to illustrate that what happens if there's a disparity in price. Now, how humans respond in these environments, it's the same as humans behave when it comes to arbitrage. What will happen is, if there's that type of disparity where it's way cheaper to purchase XRP to get into the Zaha network than it is to purchase actual Zaha tokens outright on an exchange, what you'd see is a closing of that gap, because people are going to take advantage of these opportunities, and it's going to happen pretty damn quickly. Like I said, it's the same with arbitrage. So you'd probably have, to some degree, an uptick in XRP price, and if there's not a ton of volume, it wouldn't be particularly noticeable. But what would happen more greatly on the other side, since, let's be real, to start, there's pretty much no liquidity and no volume for the Zaha tokens, you'd have that Zaha price, if that's what it started at the gate, you would have that Zaha price of $25 plummet on down real quickly and get in line with the global price of XRP, so that it's effectively equivalent. And then there will always be people, just like arbitragers, who take advantage of small gaps when they find them, and they'll eke out little profits. It's the same thing. It's the same concept, right? So, I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So so that's why I'm saying, though, if you're going to have, let's just say there's wild adoption of the Zaha blockchain. Let's just say that there is this sidechain, wildly successful. developers flock here. Well, XRP is already such a standard when it comes to all this stuff. I mean, again, these two are inextricably linked, and that's by code. That's by code on the Zaha network. People will always be incentivized to purchase XRP if there's a gap, and that's good for you if you hold XRP. It is that simple. So then you can sit here and debate, okay, well, is this a good blockchain? Do we like the tokenomics? Those are all separate questions. All I'm saying is, if the damn thing is adopted because all of that stuff is good, that's good for you listening to this if you're in XRP and the XRP ledger. I mean, unless you really truly believe that all these XRP ledger developers that don't need smart contract functionality are just going to jump ship to a separate blockchain that they already have adoption on, in this case they don't have adoption on. They're going to abandon ship to go do that. They're going to abandon the XRP ledger when they already, because look, if they're building on the XRP ledger right now, that means they don't care, or they don't need for their the existing applications, they don't need smart contract functionality. Why then would those developers scrap the projects that have gained actual adoption, which is hard to achieve, and then just scrap it and then move that over to Zaha? Why would they shoot themselves in the foot like that? They're not going to do that, obviously. If anybody's going to build in a blockchain that's less well known and has no reputation, it's going to be because that's the only place they can do it. And if it's not that, it would be something completely outside of the XRP ecosystem anyway. So in no world could this possibly be bad for XRP and the XRP ledger. Now, Zaha could absolutely fail, and I hope it doesn't. I hope it succeeds. But it sure as hell is not bad for XRP or the XRP ledger. I'm just telling you, the price is absolutely linked. There will be an equilibrium that forms. You know, that's the reason that every cryptocurrency, whether it's Bitcoin or Ether, XRP, that there's a reason that there is an equilibrium price from one cryptocurrency exchange to the next. It's because if there's too big of a disparity from, say, Coinbase to Binance US or Uphold, if there's some people get careless and there's somehow a big gap between what XRP costs on one platform versus another, then people are going to purchase it where it's cheap, move it to the exchange where it's worth more, and then they're going to sell it there for a profit. That's what arbitrage is. And so the concept is pretty similar here conceptually. So no, this is fantastic. We want this to do well. And I don't know that a lot of people get this here. And so there are a lot of people who think that this is bad and went so far as to call Zaha a scam. Now, if anybody has any proof of that, you please send it my way, and I will scream it from the rooftops. But so far, I think that is not the case. There is literally zero evidence for that. And I think it's just people that are making emotionally charged statements so far as I can tell. And so here's an XRP community member who goes by the name Froggy. And he wrote on this topic, so let me get this straight. Zaha Network prints 600 million Zaha tokens out of thin air and distributes it among the creators and their friends. Then, they encourage victims to burn their XRP at a 1-to-1 ratio in exchange for worthless tokens they got for free. What a scam. Okay, think about this. So, printing a cryptocurrency out of thin air, it makes me think of a line from David Schwartz, because it was something along the lines of, yeah, printed out of thin air because cryptocurrencies do not exist in nature. So they must be printed from somewhere. And even if it's Bitcoin, you can talk about proof of work, but that's still out of thin air. I mean, it costs energy to create that, but it also costs a much smaller amount of energy to create all of the XRP that exists at inception. So what? It's still created out of thin air. It just exists. It's numbers on a ledger. So what? So that's not a bad thing in and of itself. That's just kind of how it works. We're in the world of crypto here, my friends. And then to distribute that to creators and friends, my God, would you be saying the same thing about Ripple? And would you say that about Chris Larson and Jed McCaleb, so on and so forth, Arthur Brito? Because I typically only see Bitcoin maximalists make that type of argument against Ripple. Do you make the same charges against Ripple? If so, okay. I just don't think that it matters, because as long as people are transparent, we know where funds are going, and then if that's the ecosystem, and then people choose to participate in that ecosystem, whether it's speculative in nature or from a developer perspective, I don't care. We're all adults here. And as far as them encouraging people to hand over their XRP. I haven't seen any of the developers encourage that. In fact, I've literally seen the opposite. Now, I do believe that people are going to speculate, but that's their freaking right. If people want to get in, whether it's purchasing XRP that they otherwise wouldn't have purchased and then move it over so they have the Zaha token, so they have the exposure, if they want to do that, good for them. You know, I don't know if I'm ever going to own any, maybe, I don't know. I'm just, you know, I would need to look into it way more than I already have in terms of functionally. Do I think there's opportunity for them to find wild success? But I'm just saying, if people want to do that, what the hell is there? How is that a scam if there's full transparency? And these are the most reputable people building within the XRP ecosystem, within our community. You're going to call what they're doing a scam? What? Sorry, I got to push back against the idea here, Froggy. That just doesn't make any sense. You're making, that's a big claim against some of the most reputable people in our community with literally no evidence. You're just saying stuff. And again, you show me where they've been encouraging people to, and you know what? Even if they were, on a personal level, I don't care because we're all adults. Whatever people want to do with their money, go for it. I just don't care. But I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it one single time. I've literally seen the opposite. Literally seen the opposite. So, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think here. But I see this as unquestionably a net plus for XRP. Because again, either this thing fails and then it doesn't hurt XRP because if anything, there would just be less XRP out there, so whatever. But if it is successful, if it is, can you imagine, what if this becomes a market cap that's worth billions one day or tens of billions? How much money might flow in? Or what if you're talking about a decade down the road and it's, it has over $1 trillion market cap? And I'm not predicting that will be the case, but I'm just saying, you must understand, if there were ever that level of wild success, you got to understand what that would mean, given that there's going to be this sort of equilibrium in terms of price action for Zaha tokens and XRP. If you understand what I just shared with you here, and hopefully I explained it in a sufficiently clear way, then you've got to understand, if this thing's successful, God, yes, we want that. Because there's going to be a whole lot more burnt XRP tokens. Why would we not want that? How is that bad? And it's a one-way street. Like, you got to be kidding me. You got your goddamn mind, you think that's bad. What are you talking about? We want more demand, we want less supply, right? Right. So you're talking about a demand to purchase XRP and then immediately burn it forever. So it can never be sold. And you're going to tell me that in and of itself is bad. And again, it's not people being tricked to hand this over. If people want to do this, then they can take on that risk. And it will be, a lot of this, if there's true success here, it will be XRP getting purchased for the Zaha network that otherwise would not be purchased, but not for this particular use case. That's it. Because again, if there's demand, we know there's this price equilibrium. What does that do? That means that more XRP will get purchased that otherwise would not ever get purchased because it's for the Zaha network explicitly. And if people want to do that and they take that risk, well, I wish them the best, and if it doesn't go well, it doesn't go well. That's just how it goes. Just like I invested a ton of money in XRP, and if that doesn't go well, and it goes to zero, that's my own damn fault. That's my own damn problem. I took a risk, and it didn't go well if that happens. Okay. True with any crypto, my friends. True with any crypto. So, let me know what you think. Now, we can get into a separate conversation if you guys are sufficiently interested in terms of, to what degree might this actually have success. And I mean, again, these are some of the most well-respected, talented individuals developing for the XRP ecosystem, launching this thing. I mean, just based on the talent, that's not a guarantee of success, but at least that's a reasonable starting point. And, again, if you want that smart contract functionality, you got to do something. Just hanging out on the XRP ledger without the hooks amendment ain't going to do it. I understand why they're doing what they're doing. And it's fine. I just think people have a lot of misunderstandings of what this is and what it means in terms of the actual tokenomics, or not tokenomics, but the what the implications are in terms of price action and bringing a developer or reducing developer activity, moving it off of the XRP ledger. That just doesn't make any sense. I mean, you find me one project that is on the XRP ledger right now. Find one project that's on the XRP ledger that's going to cease operating on the XRP ledger because Zaha now exists. Find me one. Good luck. Because if they're operating, like I said earlier in the video, if they're operating on this ledger right now, the XRP ledger, they don't need smart contract functionality. Why would they just light everything they built on fire to go to a separate? It just doesn't make sense. They're not going to go to a separate blockchain. And if they're building on both blockchains, as for instance, we'd say Wind will be doing, he's made that very clear. The part where he needs smart contract functionality, the Hooks Amendment, he's going to be using the Zaha network. Cool. Now he's building stuff that otherwise wouldn't exist, and that's bad for XRP. My God. I just think it's a lot of people that haven't thought this through. The people that are negative towards this, that's just my personal opinion. Now, if you know something that I don't know, cool. I want to know, and then I'll be happy to give you credit and talk about it in a future video. If I need to backtrack on this, you guys let me know. But I haven't seen the arguments, like a coherent argument on that front. I think that people just haven't sufficiently thought this through. I mean, I haven't been persuaded anyway. And I will absolutely continue to listen to anybody. But I haven't seen a good argument. I've seen arguments like the one on your screen here. What a scam. What's the scam? What was put into place to scam people? Like, I see that. I see the allegations, but I don't see any sort of structure behind this alleged scam. I see zero. And I see accusations that aren't true. Victims? He called these people victims. He said they encourage victims to burn their XRP. Those are victims that willingly choose to burn their XRP. They're adults making decisions with assets they own, but they're victims in doing so. So like they're victims of their own stupidity. Are you like daddy government who wants to prevent people from being able to invest because they don't, their own money because they don't know what's good for them? Because then we get into that whole thing with accredited investors, which I find to be offensive on its face. In the United States, you have to be an accredited investor to purchase certain things, investment-wise. Because again, the government, no, they're protecting you from yourself. So what, should people be protected from themselves here? Because they're just victims if they're making their own decisions as adults in terms of what to invest in, right? Come on, that's just offensive. That's ridiculous. All right, let me know what you think. I'll stop yammering on here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.